It's 7:30 in the morning right now. Perfect time to make noise in this building because it's mostly quiet. So I want to share with you some of the ways that I'm thinking about using AI to make music. But first I want to make some sounds. Love. It takes my voice and then let's translate my voice into other kinds of sounds. Tududum. Tududum. Takatakitadum. Shh. Tududum. Takatakita 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 takadim takita takadim takita takadim takita takadim takita shakdum takita shakdum. Here we're working with a kind of AI that is really tiny and is trained only on 1 or 2 hours of recordings. So it knows only the sound of percussion that we're listening to here. So unlike the kinds of AI that we might be familiar with that's trained on big data or trained on all of text or all of music in the world, this one's trained on just the language, just the timbres of one data set, one really small one. And so part of the exciting research that we get to do is work on AI not to solve music, but to think about ways in which expert musicians can use the languages that they have been training their lives on to express in ways that were not possible before. This type of AI models, we know where they come from, we know what sounds they can make, and so we can be very intentional about where we place it in the creative process. But as we have more and more commercial AI music making tools, they make like statistically the most average version of music. So if you ask it to make rock song, it makes the most average version of rock song. We know that music is not something to solve by one algorithm or one medium. Every generation makes their own music that responds and reacts to the tools and techniques and values of the time. And so it's obvious to me that as people use the same commercial tools, they draw from the same probability distributions, right? They are drawing from that same algorithm. So their work all looks kind of similar. What we're trying to build is by putting these tools in the hands of musicians and making ways in which they can sample or generate music away from this probabilistic center allows us to explore and express like what new ideas might be possible. Let me show you some of those other kinds of models. Maybe we can go upstairs. But there are so many interesting things and sounds hidden in corners of this building. Like there's a stairwell back there that's one of my favorite places to make sounds. Have you been in that stairwell? What a nice reverb. Like the stuff that I showed you that takes voice and makes it into water or percussion. We've tried doing it in the context of a concert. So we would take an algorithm like that, but then put it in the hands of a musician, figure out what mappings, what kinds of things they want to change during a performance. So here is an example. That is Todd Macover, a composer, director of our lab. And right now in front of him, there is the chamber orchestra called Sejong Soloists. And I'm sitting here up on stage with them back here. And I'm getting microphone inputs from all of them, and I'm following the conductor and trying to move the river in certain ways to respond to what they're doing. And so you can listen to how they're playing right now, and you will hear the water. And because they're improvising, and that's one of the powerful things about this AI that was never possible before, where you had to either create these synthesis techniques from before and play them back, time-coded. Now we can do them in real time on stage. And so the musicians are responding, they're reacting, they're improvising. This is only scratching the surface of what is possible with like an AI model if we reach into it and allow it to like make mistakes and do things that are not just copying the data sets that it's trained on. For me, like the musical instruments are a way through which we explore new technologies. With every new technology, we have made instruments out of them, from like carving holes in bones and making flutes to acoustic instruments, and then metal and bronze instruments, and then electronic and touch screens and all of that. What I think is most powerful is we are engineers, computer scientists, neuroscience researchers over here. My background is in physics and signal processing, and I build these instruments and I get to work with expert musicians while we are shaping the instrument itself. So there's this object and noun form of music, but it's so obvious in music that there is this verb form of music, which is where you're playing the music, you're performing it, You're creating it, you're improvising it. People want to see music being made also. And the song is like not really successful when it reaches the last note. You know, it's like when it's happening. Therefore, I love working in music because it gives you this perspective that things are happening in time